Hello, and welcome to a new series of sort. To keep videos a bit briefer, this one is a for fun one mostly, where I go through replays of recent black and white tournaments and give my honest opinion on the preview and say who should win based off that and my knowledge of the players and see if I can beat the monkey. The monkey has 50% prediction rate, right? So the monkey will always get one out of two matchups right. Can me, a quote unquote black and white expert, do better than the monkey? Probably, maybe, hopefully. So yeah, let's get started. For this one, I'm going with the Ruins of Elf Premier League replays for the first 3 weeks. And I'm only going to do the best of one replays because with best of three, you kind of know when people win, so that would be cheating, right? I mean, I could be cheating as well, but let me tell you, I did not cheat for this one. But in best of three, so for example, if you see there's only 2 games in the series, and once you see who won the first one, you're like, yeah, if it's only 2 games, then the same person won game 2 as well. And the opposite goes for a series that goes to game 3, right? The person who won game 1 lost game 2, because else it wouldn't have a game 3. To go around that, some hosts link a fake replay for game 3, but it's not happening in the Ruins of Alpha replay thread, so yep, we're kind of stuck with best of ones. Alright, so this is the first game. Duke sucks against Hockey 1. Okay, so we have Zam, Sand, but no spikes versus Double Genie Rain with Starmie. Alright, so this matchup, Alakazam is mega threatening, but so is Starmie, because your water resists. If rain is up, and your Rotom is not special defensive, it takes a million. Latios is not really a Starmie switch in. And yeah, you have a Tyranitar, of course, but then you lose a lot of health on your Weather War winner. Although, who should win this one? I think most people will say Duke should win somewhat easily, but if this is Scarflandulus, this is very winnable for Hockey. That said, I think Duke is a bit more in tune with modern black and white. So I'm going to say that Duke wins this one, but barely, and it's like 55-45. So Alakazam is insanely strong, obviously, in this matchup, but if this is Scarflando, you give up a lot of momentum, and then Starmie comes in for free. If rocks are up, you have no spinner, and then yeah, it's kind of annoying. So this should be, but on the other hand, it's probably Scarflatius, right? So Lando is probably just rocks. In that case, I think Duke wins very easily. Although it's still not that easy. Thunderous could kind of, not really solo, but put a lot of pressure up. I'm giving Duke Cells the win, though. Let's see if I was right. Easy skip to end. And I was wrong. That's one. And there we go. Okay, let me take note. G1, Duke versus okay. Predict the Duke. Got it wrong. Alright, the monkey is already outplaying me. Let's move on to game 2. Oh, this is the baby. Wow. This guy has quit more times than I have, so that's something. Iris Destiny? So I think the baby wins this. I'm not a big believer in Hydreigon, and there's a real risk where you click Dark Pulse, give Terrakana justified boost, and then you're kind of fucked, right? Look at this matchup, man. It's very rough. But that said, I don't think he could win. Landorus is very strong into this. You can U-turn on the Slowbro and get in, say, Jellicent, and then if Gliscor isn't burned, toxic, sorry, you can click Will-O-Wisp, and then the baby has no play into that. If the Gliscor is poison, Skull doesn't do enough to it probably, but still annoying, right? I think the baby wins though. So Terrakion, if you get a couple of clicks right, it just wins. And Terrakion plus Excadrill will put infinite pressure on this Landorus. And Gliscor is also very annoying, unless you have Ice Heatran. But then if you have Ice Heatran, you need to play perfectly and hit Magmas and Wisps, if you even have that, to actually get progress against this. Although if it is Wisp, Ice, Balloon, nah, because you can just toss... can you? No, right? You cannot toss Titan on it. And you can obviously not go Gliscor, because if it's special defensive, but it probably is on this type of team, then yeah, it's kind of not really a way to beat it. You have Slowbro, but Slowbro can switch in, and you can Thunder Wave, and that's a pretty strong play. But then you kind of lose your Slowbro. Do you care? You do, right? Because Lando is very tough to beat with your Slowbro chipped. Okay, I think the baby wins, but if Iros Destiny plays like manages to get momentum on his side, I think he wins. I'm going with the baby though here. Let's see if the monkey is owning me, and the monkey is indeed owning me, and we're too wrong. Game to let's do the baby. Got it. All right. Let's move on to game 3. PLJ Mario versus Eden. Zam, Terrak, Ferro, Rotom, Keldeo, Selby. Mario should win this, right? Keldeo kind of solos Eden's team. Yeah, he's got a Zam and Latios, but there's a Celebi plus Titar on this side, right? So it's very tough. There's also Rotom Wash, who is very annoying for this. Even if you are, say, Lamferro, like, you get vaulted on and then Lando comes in, and then your Landorus, your way of beating Landorus is non-existent as well. So I think Mario wins this one. There's a chance like Terrakion goes off if it's like Life Orb, Ice, Scissor, but I don't think anybody runs the set, so I don't have much hopes for Aiden. Yeah, no, I think Mario should win this. Latios will never kill Titar and Celebi, and Zam obviously struggled versus Titar and also somewhat versus Eska. There's also Rotom Wash, which is also pretty bad to play against. So Eden can win this, but he has to win the tie against Keldeo and get perfect clicks and hit a couple of Stone Edges. So I'm not... Nah, I think Mario wins this. Let's see. Oh, Eden loses by inactivity. Okay, judging by the status of the... This looks like a Scarfactory, so this was pretty hard to win. You probably need to get a roll here. But you probably lose to Scarfexca from here anyway. I'm not... I didn't check the set, so I don't know. Like, there's a chance. If this Terrakin is Scarf, then maybe, but on this type of team, it's probably Sash Zam then. And so what you have to do is... Well, no, because Mario just sacrifices something, or just goes Celebi, right? Sash Zam does not run Signal Beam usually. And Ice, HP Ice without Life Orb will not do enough damage. So yeah, no, this game was almost done. So yeah, got my right. 2, 3, Mario 1. Right. Alright, let's see. Game 4, Magialis against Not sure. Is it Oscari, I think? Oh, I don't know, but I think it's Oscari. So we have Kong Volk Hyper Offense versus Pilkish Sun Team. I have very low hopes for our hero Oscari here. Although Caldo is kind of strong, so there's that. You should probably lead Lando here, and if you face Chomp lead, you switch out though to Ferro probably, because on this I'm so there's a few directions someone could go with this kind of team, right? So you could have it's usually Sash Rocksterrak, right? But you can run like anything else really, because you don't. Sash on Terak is okay, but not necessary because that mon is kind of bulky by itself, so it's just fine. And then you kind of like Draco Meteor Chomp and then open up for, say, a Life Orb Terrakion kind of deal. That's an option. Or you can do the opposite, really. So, but beyond that, Kelda is pretty strong in this matchup, and so is Latios. If this is, I mean, it doesn't have to be specs, but if it is specs, what is Alice play? Sacrifice something and then try to win with Volk, right? But then, do you? There's a Tita on the other side. The saving grace is that your opponent will never spin versus this. Excadrill just has no space against this at all. 5 months instantly deleted. Well, 4, I guess. Kong also deletes it, but it's slower. And Rachi, but Rachi is never not clicking U-turn anyway. So, I think Alice wins. But, like, not super sold. Let's see. And I got it right. And it was worse than Chomp, and then Terak was lead, sure. Oop. Music jump scare. Alright. So this is SD Chomp with Farfang on this build. Sure, not sure why, but okay. For Alice won. Right. Okay, we are back tying with the monkey. Let's go. Okay, moving on to week 2. Mendez against Duke. Another Volk Kong hyper offense. This one, compared to Alice, Duke went Dragonite instead of Terrakion. So this is fine. Terrakion is a better mon, quote unquote, an hyper offense, or in general. But what that does is it makes it obvious you're rocks on Chomp. I mean, okay, you can make a case to be like Rocks Rachi and Scarf Chomp. I think that's too witty and too Zam. So probably not, right? And that's loaded. Oh well, that is definitely a team choice. This team was pretty good back then. Nowadays, it's still fine, probably. I mean, you have Gastrodon, which beats Starmie, which is the new hottest trend, if it's even a trend. Problem, Ironically, is kind of not the best nowadays, but it's good still because, it completely stonewalls Kong unless you have a Kong specifically designed to hit Reun. But on this type of build, usually you want like a regular Kong and not the slow one with payback. I think you like Mach on this type of build too, because stuff like Scarf Escadrille otherwise is very hard to beat. I mean, it's not like Mach Kong is the ultimate Escadrille counter, but it's better than nothing. Zam, you have Rachi, and spikes should almost never go up versus this. I think Duke wins, but I can see Mendez winning if he plays it correctly. It also depends on the chump sand, kind of. It could be Draco Fire Blast, and then it's kind of tough for Mendez. Yeah, he's got a Gliscor though, so maybe not. Although some people run HP Ice Chomp and drop Airquake. I mean, it works, obviously, so... I think I'm giving the win to Duke Sucks. And I got it right. Nice. Game 5. You won. Right. Thanks. It was pretty close though. Look at this. There's a paralyzed Rachi at 56%, only thing alive, like overall. So yeah, let's move on to game 6. We have Hockey 1 versus Stepchild. Okay, no, this one I know Stepchild wins. Like, he let me the replay because he was very excited. He got to play and play black and white. So yeah, no, never mind. No, I know this already, so there's no point really. And this plays nicely though into the video because that means I only have 10 replays to watch instead of 11, which makes it a bit easier for us. All right. So actual game 6, Magialis versus Finn. Finn? Isn't this guy like a RU player? I remember him vaguely. Okay, let's see. We have a Reuniclus Kelvio Spikes versus Celebi Kex Caroto. Who wins this one? I think Finn wins. Celebi is kind of tough for this. Like you don't really have good Celebi removal with this, unless you're Bug Keldeo, which obviously you aren't with this. Right? It's Grass or Ghost. Or Toxic even, like something to Jellicent and Gastrodon though, because else they kind of wall you. Yeah, you have a Ferrothorn, but Ferrothorn will get burned and then it stops being a check for anything. So yeah, I think Finn wins this one. I'm a big believer in like Celebi, although on this team it may be subpass. In that case, it sucks and Finn loses. But since I hope it's not, I'm giving Finn the win on this. Oh wow, this was a what? It was Bilky Celebi, but not subpass. Luckily, at least that. Well, it was Scarflanda, it seems. Lefty Zexka. Okay. Theme 1. Right. Game 7. Eden versus Dawn to the Dusk. Oh. Etron, Among Us, Rotom, Excaondo, Ferrolanda, Rotom, Zambatius. So, one interesting thing about this matchup is that Among Us is actually pretty strong here, right? Because if you have Fire move, you scare Ferrothorn away. You don't kill it, as in you do like 40% damage to it, but you can fire into Stun Spore or Stun Spore on a switch, and that's has no real switching into a Stun Spore Among Us. I guess Tita actually on this team, you can probably toss Tita because there's no Psychic type to deal with on the other side. And if you're paralyzed, you also are slightly better into Etran because you cannot get whisked. Though this with this type of build, I think it's sub Etran. Tamitran is kind of showing up again, like the good old times. So that could be the set here. Who wins though? I think Eden wins. Although, obviously, it's Mons, so no guarantee. But I think Eden wins. And I'm right again. Woohoo! Alright. What happened? Lefties. This guy was whatever. It died horribly. Toxic Magma Storm. Looks like it hit a couple of Magmas. Ball switch, pain split, stun spore, Aiden power. Alright, with the empower reveal, I'm going to assume it was. Let me check real quick. Was I right? Etran, toxic, into a double toxic. Nice. Oh yeah, no, it was in Powder Ice, which makes sense because there was a hit run on this side. But yeah, both guys here toxic, and it's Scar Factory, so the win con was activated almost. How did Zam not do anything? Sorry, what? Okay. Oh yeah, because you're Scarf Rotom, but don't you toss Lando here then? Hmm. I guess Zam covers Wisp. You have to kind of take a guess here, but okay. Alright, let's see. Next game. Game 8. Duke versus Mario. This team from Mario is something I could have loaded in SPL when I played the game. So let's say it's not that good nowadays. Duke's team is just a sample team, right? So this is fine, obviously. I think Duke wins this one. Unless he trolls against Reuniclus. Ethan is kind of annoying, but if you get Keldeo in and it's, say, Ghost move, you really don't have a good play into it, except hardening Reuniclus and hoping you don't get HP ghosted. But even then, it's kind of tough. Although you do have a Skarmory who is very strong into Duke's team, so maybe... Is this Ghost up, right? So this is probably Trick from Reuniclus, so... Mario could win this, actually, because if it is what I'm thinking it is, it's Scarf Titar and Scarf Chomp, right? Plus OTR, Reon, and whatever stupid Eterns that people run on this type of team. I think Duke wins still. Nope, not even close. It was Bilky's Karmory. Reuniclus never came in. Chomp Outrage, Tinantara. Okay, sure. And Duke lost. Wrong. Okay. Center of Protect Lava Plume Toxic. Oh, that's a very good setting to this though. You have to really play it to actually not get smashed by it, so I understand. And it looks like he got a lot of turns in actually. 5 Lava Plumes, 1 Toxic, 8 Protects, 1 Rocks. Yeah, okay. So that's probably how Duke lost. Not gonna watch, but that's my take on this. Okay, next game. Alice versus Mendez. Pretty standard rain. Starmie is not loading because reasons. And Zone Celebi Titarland. Oh, okay. This is a team style. This is the Mech Megan special. The triple ground zone, whatever stuff. These type of teams, I don't mind them. I don't think they're particularly good, but they're pretty okay in terrain. Because you have Zone, who is very annoying, obviously, and then you have Celebi as well. Usually it's Latios. And the Seismitoad is also okay-ish in terrain, because Thundurus... Well, nowadays Thundurus are mostly plot, so Seismitoad is actually not that good into it. I think Mendes wins. Thundurus is too strong in this matchup. If it's plot, though. Nowadays, most people run agility on this type of build, so maybe there's a way, but what most people run is not what you're facing. It could also very well be U-turn Thunderous, right? So you can say U-turn on a Celebi coming in or something else, and then guarantee the trap with Scissor, and that's a pretty strong play, actually. So I'm going to say Mendez wins this. Also, Alice is sinning by not bringing Gliscor. I know some people will hate me for saying this, but you really need a Gliscor on this type of team. Over Landorus. I mean, I see the point, right? Landros is stronger with zone. Gliscor, you can drop the zone, right? Because Gliscor kind of solos by itself anyway in the long run. I guess the same things that zone traps. Whereas Landros, you can have like rock polish, say, and it really likes zone. Then you have Seismitoad to block Rotom, so that's nice. And then you can run like Scarfexeril, say, and rocks on Seismitoad, that's fine-ish. But I think Mendez wins. Yep. That's one. Right. We only have two more. Oh, never mind, I got it. Wait. Okay, let's do this one. Hockey versus this is Oscari, right? I think we've met him in the first game, but I wasn't sure it was him, but I think it is him. I could always check later. All right, we have Scarmiglass. Okay, we have a for Fate matchup into Rotom Wash loaded into no Rotom Wash, so that's a start. That said, Oki's team is pretty threatening if it's a good Terrakion set, so not banned, so maybe Ice Life Orb again. But I hope it is, because banned with just you to Orlando is a bit rough, I think. Alright, so things that need to happen. Hockey can win, because Starmie is insane into this. You need to hard outplay it with your Titar. So say go Titar on the T-Bolt or Jellicent on the Hydro Pump and then double into Titar, but it's kind of not really obvious, but readable at the very least. That was completely worthless. Terrakion could be annoying depending on the set, but there's no rock resist, so even then, if it's choice band, click Stone Edge twice and then it's rough for Oscari. If rocks are up at the very least, which they should go because there's no spinner, and Landos is a pretty good rocker in this matchup. It also depends on the Latios set. I think Oscari got Sash Zam and like offensive Latios. Okay. I think okay has got Latios. Based on that, who would win? I think Oscari wins this. If he gets one spike down, Alakazam is kind of insane, and if it can hit moves, it will open the way for Latios, or the other way around, as usual. Yeah, I think Latios Zam with spikes, which can come out. There's also Tita and Jelly. Yeah, no, I'm giving Oscari the win. Let's see. And I was right. Nice. Oscari won. Right. And I have another game, but didn't I cover it already? No, I did not. Okay. With Hayden against Finn. Oh, this is a very ancient looking rain. Alright, so my guess here is that this is Subcalmine Latias, which is okay. It almost solos opposing rains, but the problem is, what do you do into anything else with this setup? You could, okay, you can make a case, right? So you can do like sub Iron Head, Thunder, Rachi, right? With Water Pulse slash Ice move. That's very strong into some, and then you have the anti-rain Latias, and then you can rely on, say, Utor Landorus plus Tentacruel to beats to not get owned by stuff, and you also have a Ferrothorn. And your Polito is also a nice buffer against a few things. That's what I'm expecting with this setup. I don't see, I mean, you can build this however you want, but I think the most efficient way to cover the most matchups is to have sub 3 attacks Rachi and then sub Calmine Latias. Oh, well, you don't have to run sub on either. You can run refresh on Latias or even reflect type if you're about that live. I would not recommend it personally, but it works to a point. Rashi could also not be sub and just like go full weird with like, I don't know. You can be Ironhead Calmine Water Pulse, Thunder, for example. That's a set. I don't like it particularly, but it would own this matchup, by the way. There's a Hippodons on. You need to get lucky with Water Pulse, but that's fine. I think Finn wins. I'm sorry, I think Eden's team is too weak in general. Like, even if you go for the sets I suggested, you're never killing Hippodon plus Clef with this 6, right? And there's also Scammy. There's a chance, but I think you really don't. Jellicent is also crazy strong into you, right? Even if you tox it with Tentacruel, it will click Wisp, and then unless you have Wisp, unless you have Refresh Toad and you're faster, I think you kind of get owned by that. I'm giving Finn the win. Aiden can win with severe outplays, but will he do it? Only one way to find out. Skip to end. It did win. Never mind, it was Choice Latias. It was Subthunder, actually, at least I got that one. What was the Lando set? One sec. I guess it was Specs Latias. Knocked, leftover trick. Okay, it was Specs Latias, it tricked the Scammy. And then the Lando set was, then the Lando was Scarf, right? Rock Spikes Ferro, and then Sub Thunder Rashi. Poito was Bilky, it looks like. Wow, Aiden won this. Good job. Aiden won. Wrong. So, what happened? I got the first 2 wrong, then I got 5 right in a row. That makes it 5 and 2. Then I got 1 wrong, 5 and 3, 2 right, 7 and 3, and the last one wrong. So 7 and 4. Alright. Looks like I'm better than the monkey for now, at least. But yeah, this was pretty fun. Good job to all the winners. To all the losers. Better luck next time. Maybe. Yeah. See ya.